The wedding, which should have been a joyful occasion, turned into a painful memory because of my husband. It had taken us a long time to finally marry, mostly due to conflicting schedules, or rather his lack of effort to align them. In fact, I didn't even meet my in-laws until the wedding day itself. Despite my unease, I trusted his reassurances and went through with the ceremony. During the event, I noticed faint snickering. At first, I dismissed it as paranoia, but a glance at my in-laws' table revealed they were laughing, though not looking in my direction. I hoped this was some odd attempt at humor orchestrated by Sam, my husband. Of course it wasn't. The ceremony continued in a haze until the host signaled it was time for the outfit change. Wanting to avoid any attention, I quickly retreated to the dressing room. My second outfit was a striking red and black dress. Stylish, perhaps overly so, but it complemented Sam's attire perfectly. As a video production professional, he had an eye for aesthetics, so it made sense. Walking through the hallway, the plush carpet felt oddly grounding beneath my feet. But that brief comfort shattered when I overheard a sharp, unpleasant voice. Instinctively, I hid behind a wall and listened. To my shock, I discovered how my in-laws truly felt about me. My name is Emma Miller. I work as a saleswoman for a foreign company, leading a fast-paced career. Most days, my work ends at 6 p.m. and I eagerly return to my apartment. On the night in question, I had 2 WhatsApp messages waiting. One was from a friend, which I flagged to answer later. The other was from Sam. I'd like steak for dinner tonight. There was no steak at home, so I stopped by the butcher's and bought premium beef from Sam's hometown, charged to my credit card, of course. When I returned, I began preparing dinner. Sam poked his head into the kitchen. "I'll set the table," he offered. "It's okay," I replied, urging him to focus on his video project since his deadline was near. Grateful, he went back to work, and I couldn't help but think of how we first met 7 years ago. We had been introduced by a mutual friend. On one of our early dates, some rough-looking men tried to harass us. Sam, quick thinking as always, pulled out his camera and recorded everything. "What do you think your company would say if I sent them this video?" he asked the men. Despite being 5 years younger than me, Sam's calm demeanor and reliability won me over. At first, I worried about his unstable income, but I chose to support him wholeheartedly. My biggest struggle had always been deciding between my career and marriage. 7 years ago, I couldn't have imagined the regret I'd feel now, wondering if I had wasted my youth waiting for him. Sam had asked me to wait until his work stabilized before marrying. Outwardly, I agreed, but deep down I longed for commitment. The loneliness of his absence gnawed at me. I tried chatting with him over WhatsApp, but he often dodged my attempts at deeper conversations. One morning while making breakfast, I caught my reflection in the mirror. My face was neither old nor particularly youthful, but for the first time, I wondered if I was losing my appeal as a woman. That night, lying beside him, I finally voiced my fears. "Sam," I began hesitantly, "am I not attractive anymore?" He looked surprised. "Of course you are. You're responsible, hardworking, and an amazing cook. That's what I love about you." "Then let's get married," I blurted out. Sam paused, then smiled. "Really? You think I'd joke about something like this?" That night he promised me forever. We set a wedding date almost immediately. Sam insisted on choosing the perfect day, citing the almanac, and brushed off my concerns about logistics. "But my parents can't make it on those dates," I protested. "Then they won't attend," he replied firmly. His resolute tone left me uneasy. But after 7 years together, I knew he wouldn't budge. On our wedding day, I met his parents for the first time. 7 years of love had brought me here, but as I stood at the altar, I couldn't shake the nagging thought that I had given up too much. My time, my career, dreams, and perhaps even my peace, for a man who rarely met me halfway. I had slept surprisingly well the night before, and a clear sky promised a perfect day for a wedding. Sam and I headed to the hotel for the ceremony. "Hi, I'm Emma. I look forward to being part of the family," I rehearsed in my mind, trying to stay positive despite my nerves. When Sam had shared photos of his family on WhatsApp, I noticed how much he resembled his mother. That morning, as I lifted my gaze to the sky, I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to spend my life with these people. "Sam, how's work going? Have you been eating properly?" his mother asked during their brief conversation. "It's tough, but I'm managing. I'd love to have some of Mom's homemade food again," he replied with a boyish smile. I glanced around and realized my own parents weren't there. Sam was busy chatting with his family, leaving me feeling like an outsider. Just as I tried to shake off the unease, I suddenly heard a baby crying behind me. I turned to see a young woman, likely in her 20s, cradling an infant in one arm while holding a small boy's hand with the other. The boy looked strangely familiar. He resembled Sam. "Molly?" I asked tentatively, assuming she was Sam's sister. She clicked her tongue dismissively. "Congratulations, big brother, or should I say my condolences?" I forced a laugh, unsure how to respond. Her tone felt off, and my unease deepened as I tried to introduce myself to Sam's family. His mother, Emily, cut me off. "Thanks to Sam, we're having this beautiful reception at such a fancy hotel. It's almost too much." The conversation spiraled. Molly joked about budgets, the family laughed at inside jokes, and I felt a headache forming. Sam smiled at me, but his gaze was distant, like I was just another guest at the wedding. The ceremony began, but it felt hollow without my parents there. I walked down the aisle alone. Faint snickers floated through the air. When I glanced toward Sam's family, they weren't even looking at me. The day that was meant to be joyful was turning into a nightmare. After the ceremony, I changed into a red and black dress for the reception. It was stylish, perhaps overly so, but it matched Sam's outfit. As I walked down the carpeted hallway toward the venue, I overheard voices. Curious, I paused to listen. "She only married Sam for his money," one voice said. "She's spoiled. We'll need to straighten her out," another added. I froze, my chest tightening. The voices continued. "She's just putting on a nice act, but we know her true intentions." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mind raced. Sam had told his family that I had been reluctant to marry him. No wonder they saw me as some kind of villain. Moments later, his family passed by, chatting loudly. "She can do the dishes at least," Emily said dismissively. "She'll never manage both morning and evening chores," another voice chimed in, followed by laughter. The humiliation was unbearable. The tradition of changing into a new outfit during the wedding, meant to symbolize a bride blending into her new family, felt like a cruel joke. I didn't want to blend into this family. Leaning against the wall, I heard Sam's voice. "What are you guys talking about?" he asked casually. "Oh, just how lucky you are to be marrying such a unique woman," Molly teased. They all laughed. Sam didn't defend me. My last shred of hope vanished. Without thinking, I marched past them, catching Sam's attention. "Hey, wait, what's going on?" he called. Ignoring him, I went straight to the host. "I need your help," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Can you play this audio file? It's crucial." The host hesitated but eventually connected my phone to the speakers. Whispers rippled through the room as the audio of Sam's family's cruel conversation echoed over the venue. Laughter, insults, condescension. Guests were stunned. Some criticized me for airing the drama, but my friends, colleagues, and superiors defended me fiercely. Taking a breath, I spoke clearly despite the lump in my throat. "I hereby declare this wedding cancelled." And with that, I walked out of the venue in my wedding dress. By the time I returned to the apartment, my phone was flooded with missed calls from Sam. I answered one. "What the hell, Emma? Canceling the wedding? Do you know what you've done? The guests are furious. Everything's ruined." "Well, since I paid for the wedding, I think I have the right to cancel it," I replied coldly. "You're being ridiculous," he shouted. "No, Sam. I was a fool for not seeing your true nature sooner. I, Emma Miller, vow to divorce you." I hung up. Sam didn't call again that night. Later I phoned my mother. "Mom, I just divorced Sam. Can I come home?" Her calm, reassuring voice brought tears to my eyes. "Of course, sweetheart. Come home." I packed only the essentials and drove to my parents' house. They listened patiently as I explained everything, never blaming me, never urging me to apologize. A week later, Sam called again. But by then I was already on a new path. One where I chose myself over someone who never chose me. I was discussing future plans with my parents over dinner when my phone buzzed. The screen lit up with Sam's name. Without preamble, he said, "I need to talk to you. I'm coming over." Then he hung up. "Who was that?" my father asked, his expression sharpening. "It was my ex-husband," I replied. My father's eyes narrowed as he pushed his chair back to stand, but my mother placed a calming hand on his arm. "Honey, let's prepare the living room for guests. We should be polite. Emma, take it easy." This must be hard for you, my father added. I stood as well. Dad, I'm 35 now. I need to handle this myself. Please let me. He regarded me for a moment, then nodded, his stern expression softening. You've grown. I'm proud of you. Minutes later, the doorbell rang. Sam stood outside with his parents and sister Molly. Their demeanor betrayed both urgency and defensiveness. Please wait in the living room, I said evenly, stepping aside. My family will join shortly. As they settled, Sam wasted no time. How dare you ruin my wedding, he snapped, his voice rehearsed. My wedding. The words struck me, but I remained composed. You've made our family a laughingstock, Emily chimed in, trying to appear reasonable in my parents' presence. Poor big brother, Molly added mockingly. How's he supposed to remarry with a divorce record? I have a divorce record too, I said calmly. And I was the one who filed for it. Her face reddened, but she said nothing more. Finally, Jack, Sam's father, spoke up, trying to sound authoritative. It's not just about the money. You've damaged our reputation. How are you going to make this right? My father, who had been listening intently, finally responded, his voice calm, steady, deliberate. Let's set aside the fact that you didn't invite us, the bride's parents, to the wedding. What you're really asking for is financial compensation, correct? His calm, gray-haired presence seemed to unsettle them. They exchanged nervous glances. Jack raised his voice, trying to regain control. It's not just about money, you hurt our feelings. But my father was unshaken. Marriage is a partnership between families. How do you explain disregarding ours and making decisions solely for your own convenience? Their voices grew weaker. Soon they were sipping tea my mother had brought out, their earlier indignation fading. Just then the doorbell rang again. Molly's husband Henry had arrived late. But when he entered and saw my father, his expression changed instantly. He turned pale and began trembling. What's wrong, Henry? Molly asked, oblivious. Tell them off like you always do. Instead, Henry stammered, I sincerely apologize for everything. What are you doing? Jack barked, bewildered. I decided to end the charade. Henry works for a subsidiary of my father's company. My father is the president. The revelation silenced the room. My father, unfazed, continued calmly. Let me clarify something. During her time with Sam, Emma covered all their living expenses, including the allowance Sam sent to you. Jack turned to his son, disbelief etched on his face. Is that true? Sam hung his head, unable to deny it. The family devolved into bickering, their earlier bravado gone. Before leaving, I added, I also helped Sam find work in video production. But I won't be assisting him anymore. 6 months later, I encountered Sam one last time, at the local family court. After months of mediation, most assets were returned to me, leaving Sam with only his video equipment. His professional and financial life unraveled. He moved back in with his parents, who now resented him. A year after our divorce, I focused fully on my career and on taking over my father's company. At a colleague's wedding, I unexpectedly caught the bouquet tossed by the bride. What does that mean? A friend teased. I smiled softly. It means I've had enough of marriage. My dedication now is to my work.